great to have all the technology working just absolutely smoothly here with TV 10, our live stream radio. I know, I did.
Shouldn't have said it out loud.
I did that.
That's like saying, hey, Gremlins, Yeah.
It's amazing what kind of power you have to affect things when you do stuff like that. And I'll give you an example of the most recent situation where this happened to me. And let's bring in Financial Phil, who played some football in his day as well. Phil, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How are you all?
We are doing great. Thank you. So Friday night before our at Oakdale High School, our playoff game against Damascus, we're sitting in the head coach's office, and I was talking about our center, who early in the year had trouble consistently making the shotgun snap, right, pistol snap. And it got to the point where he was almost replaced because he just had so much trouble with that snap. And then, with some practice, some work, and the threat of being replaced, suddenly, for the last 6 weeks, the snaps have been great. Well, I said that during the meeting in the coach's office before the game, and wouldn't you know it,
over the head of the quarterback.
And when it happened during the game, I didn't say, because they all looked at me and they said, why would you say that out loud? Why? And I said, I don't have that much power. And I do. Apparently I do have that much power.
It's like you're driving along and say, wow, traffic is great.
Then you go over the mountain, down the hill, and geez, we're sitting there, we're stuck. Financial Phil, great to have you with us here this morning. I want to start first with your old program there at Shepherd. They really closed the season strong, winning 7 straight after an 0-4 start.
Boy, doesn't that say a lot about the program as a whole, though? Starting off 0-4 and knowing that most likely you got no playoff future and you're just playing for pride and better for next year, and they run off 7 in a row. It's a pretty daggone good teams, too. I bet everybody in the PSAC's glad that they lost those first 4 because those boys were coming, man. So I'm proud of them. They were 7 in a row, finished off 7-4 at strong season.
Peaking at the right time. And a couple of our kids from Oakdale were starting at Shepherd. Josh Crummett is the center. And I love that kid, great player. And Cam Dorner was
Don't jinx him.
3-year contributor at Shepherd, and then left in the portal for North Texas to play Division I football, and he was doing great for North Texas as well. So it's fun to be able to I can tune in. I could see Crummett playing center for Shepherd. I could see Cam Dorner playing receiver. He was on TV a couple weeks ago in North Texas, played whoever they were playing. And then at night, Dominic Nichols, he plays defensive end for Michigan. You have to be able to watch him at night play. It was a good Oakdale weekend for me, Phil.
It sounds like it. Sounds like it was a great weekend. And then top it off with the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Bungles, as they should. So sounds like a good weekend for Rob.
It was a good weekend for Phil, too, because the Commanders lost and the Steelers won, and that's the daily double at the Phil household.
Yeah, that's the daily double. I do have, as I said a couple weeks ago, though, like I'm not a Commanders fan. Everyone knows that. But, man, this is getting ugly, and it's taking some of the fun out of it. It's not as much fun as it would be if they were 4-6 or, losing some bad games. But I'll take it. The Commanders at 3-8, and our Steelers beat the Bengals. And we'll have to see what the fallout is of this Spitgate that happened at the end of the game.
Jamar Chase, Jalen Ramsey said Jamar Chase spit on him. That's why he punched him in the helmet.
And
he did spit on him, man.
And let's not forget, I'm drawing a quick blank on his name, the quarterback from Martinsburg that went to West Virginia as a wide receiver. He's now at Illinois, had a great game on Saturday, 2 touchdown passes and a critical 3rd down pass.
That's good that you even know that, Bill.
Yeah, but who's the –
Clement.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you. But he had a great day. So.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very nice. Let's talk money here, Phil, because it's been an interesting couple of weeks here for the market. It was going up a little too fast there. I think everybody kind of figured there'd be some turbulence, and we've got turbulence now. But we've got a big week of information coming up. Hudson Clement. There were 2 Clement brothers.
Yeah,
Hudson
Clement. Yes,
thank you, Cotter. Yeah, we got some reports coming in this week and some earnings reports as well. What are we looking for?
We have that, and probably right now the most important earnings report possible, which is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the AI darling. They're seen as the bellwether for that sector or that space now. So we get their earnings, and that will give us some indication. Can we calm down with their fears of this frothy market or skinny top or bubble, all these words that have been popping up more and more lately. And the big reason for some of the turbulence that you spoke of that we've had in our recent past. And we're going to get September jobs report. And I don't know what that's going to mean, quite honestly, because it's delayed due to the government shutdown. So we're getting old information. So will we take it seriously? Will we look at the trend from August to September and then look forward to whenever October may come out? That's kind of seldom used, I guess you would say, is the jobs report is really important, but with it being delayed, how important will it be? I don't really know. I don't know how we'll view that when it comes out, good or bad. But I would think that those two things this week, without any unknown information, those two pieces of information are going to be huge and dictate which way our markets go this week. More important in my mind is most likely NVIDIA.
Netflix has a 10-for-1 stock split that goes into effect today. Phil, for those not aware of what a stock split is and does, give us the tutorial.
You're going to get a bunch of shares. So if you own Netflix, you're going to wake up and have 10 times the shares that you had before, but they're going to be worth much less. The overall value should be the same. Now, there's a lot of reasons for doing so, and I think now really it kind of falls on the option market is why the biggest reason to do it, because options sell in huge lots, and if the stock is worth, say, $1,000, it takes a lot of money to buy an option contract on them. It used to be to give regular day investors access to the stock, but now you can buy small slices of stock. So you can buy stock slices instead of buying an overall share. But it does. It shouldn't matter the way that it does, quite honestly. It shouldn't bring about huge rises or falls in the stock, because at the end of the day, it's the same value. You just have more shares of it. But it does. It does bring attention to it. In some cases, it does cause a short-term bump in the stock price, but it shouldn't. So if you own a stock that has a split, you're going to wake up one day and have a lot more shares, but they're going to be worth less per share. Your overall value should remain the same. It shouldn't change.
The run-up in price tends to follow the announcement that a stock will split. And for some reason, that seems to drive investor interest. People love it when the stock announces it's going to split, if it's a good stock. You got Berkshire Hathaway, for instance, which just doesn't split. And one share of Berkshire Hathaway this morning is at $763,866.71. Now, obviously, as you were mentioning, you can do slices now. But if you were trying to buy a share of Berkshire Hathaway, it's pretty much impossible unless you're an institutional investor.
Yes. Yep. And now a regular retail investor can just buy slices of it. It does bring about option contracts. And, a lot of individual investors don't do option contracts, but it does make that easier to complete a one contract or a two contract or three contract for future purchases. So when they announce the stock split, when you go past the date of the stock split, those contracts are now more attainable. Not just for individual investors, but for institutional investors as well. It makes it much more attainable for them to buy large pieces of options contract, and whether it's a bullish or a bearish move. And that's something we have to remember, because we think of stock splits as something that's bullish, and normally it is. I can't give you a good answer why, because it doesn't make fundamental sense of why it's normally in today's world why it's bullish. But it can also bring about bearish, where I'm selling option contracts as well. That would indicate that I think the price is going to go down. But I think it's more important to the options market than it is to the regular retail investor market.
Mr. Gilstrap, you look like you had a question before.
No, I'm just glad I bought.
You got a good one too.
I'm just glad I bought my 100 shares of Berkshire Hathaway at $100 a share. 25 years ago. It's paid off for me.
Come see me, John. Come see me sometime.
No, I had actually I've been in contact with Phil over the weekend to cheat a little bit on this. I was stunned that the Mega Millions Powerball, whatever that lottery, paid off.
It was Mega Millions.
Mega Millions, one winner, $980 million.
In Georgia, and we've not heard from Freddie yet today, by the way.
So, hey, that's true.
Could have been for Freddie. That's what you're saying.
It was sold in Georgia to one person.
So that, if you took the 30-year payout, that's $33,000 a year, $33 million a year. But if they take the cash payout, the lump sum, that's $452 million
Before taxes.
Before taxes. So it's only going to come down to 200. It's all stupid money. So I asked Phil if he would be comfortable doing this. If I'm his 45-year-old client with a family of 4 with 2 kids, and I come and I say, here you go, Financial Phil, my advisor. Here's the $450 million that I need to invest. What would you tell me to do with it?
Well, and I love doing this, and we've never had the privilege of having a Mega Millions client. But the very first thing we would do is slow down and take a really deep breath and lock our doors and get you in the door and cancel all appointments.
Get out the red carpet, cater it.
You would need much more than just a financial planner, and most people do anyway, with or without millions. But we would be in constant, quick contact with a CPA, of course, because you had mentioned it before. There's some big tax issues coming up. It's for a good reason, and I would love to have those tax issues myself, but we would be in contact immediately with the CPA, and we would be in contact immediately with an estate planner, and because now that money needs to be broken up in tranches, if you will. And what are your wants, wishes, needs, and goals? Just like if before you won the lottery, you've got all these wants, wishes, needs, and goals, but that's going to change drastically because of what just happened to you, right? So all these dreams that you have, and that's why people play the lottery, so we could dream and think about what we would do with all of these millions. I would immediately pull up horror stories like the guy from Beckley that basically ruined his life and his entire family life because he won the lottery. That would be what I would do. I would say, hey, quick warning, let's slow down a little bit and still remain who you are. But let's talk about some of this charitable giving that you probably want to do. Let's talk about what you want for your children and your grandchildren and decades past that. Let's talk about, do you need to involve a community foundation so people don't drive you crazy for money, because that's going to happen. You're going to have new friends and new family that you never knew that you had. All of a sudden, everybody's going to be your best friend. But you need to make sure that not just the taxes up front that you're going to have to worry about, and on an annual basis, because that money hopefully is going to make money. And then we're going to break your money up, and we're going to treat each one of those wants, wishes, needs, and goals as its own purpose. So do I have a scholarship fund that needs to be renewed each and every year, and what do we do with that money in the meantime? How about my children? Am I going to continue to say, hey, children, you're still going to go to a local public high school, or we're going to go somewhere else? Or what about college? That change your college aspirations? I was going to go to an in-state, but now I can go somewhere else. All of these things, how did they change? And break that money up as such. And you certainly need to see an estate attorney, because now you've got estate issues that most people, the majority of people, as much as we study it, rarely do you run into someone that would, under today's current law, that doesn't mean it can't change, but do you run into someone that would deal with true estate taxes like Michael Jackson had? If you ever want to read something, I do believe he had some estate issues when he had passed away, but you need to prepare for that. Once all of that is done, and we know exactly what we want to do with this money and the good and that we're going to do with it, hopefully not bad, and then we're going to break that up, and each one of those would be invested separately. So for the longer-term money, of course, it's going to be more aggressive, just like it would be in your 401k and your 45. That's long-term money. You can be aggressive. How about the short-term money, that, renewable scholarships, or am I going to build a recreation facility, or what am I going to do locally? Am I going to donate to police departments? What am I going to do with this? And when will that money be needed? That pocket of money will be treated differently than each and every pocket. But at the end of the day, I think the main advice that we would give with those locked doors is to slow down and take a breath. Of course, pay off your debts. These are the easy things. Pay off your debts and fund 529s. All those things would be really easy to accomplish right off the bat. But we want to slow down and take a breath and kind of get back to who we are and absorb what just happened to you. I think the emotional part would probably be the biggest hurdle that someone would deal with if they won that much money that quickly, so they didn't go crazy with it. and maybe potentially ruin their lives. Because I think we've heard more horror stories with someone running into great wealth like that than we have terrific stories that have done great things with their money and didn't ruin their lives. We've also heard the bad part, like that poor guy down the on the poor guy.
The guy you're referring to, Phil, is
like.
Jack Whitaker was his name.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look him up, he won in 2002 a jackpot. At the time, it was the biggest jackpot ever, Powerball, $313.9 million. He chose the cash option, which after taxes, it says here was $113,386,407. He was famously robbed but for carrying over $500,000 in a briefcase. When asked why he would carry such money around, he said, "Because I can." He died about 5 years ago. And you're right, that's a tragedy. And there was tragedy in his family all around from that point forward. It really was.
He won a second time?
Not that I know of, no.
I thought he won actually 2 lotteries.
Not that I'm aware of, no. But he was already worth $17 million when he won the lottery. So you would think, Phil, that a person with that kind of money in 2002 might have been more. But
it goes to show you what money could do to you, and you know, I like to. Everybody says money is the root of all evil, and I like to change that. But it's the mismanagement of money is the root of all evil. The lack of money is the root of all evil. It's not necessarily the money that's the root of all evil. It's what it does to us, and what it causes us to do sometimes. But that was tragic. You know, I listened to that, and some people made fun and so forth. He didn't just ruin his life; he ruined lives around him as well. And all of a sudden, everybody had empty or blank checks that they could do anything in the world that they wanted with it, and it changed them, and it ruined a lot of lives around him and his family.
But would be remiss to not look at the opposite side of the coin, and that's our own Randy Smith in Berkeley County, who did fund. He funded the police, he funded the fire department, but he also put a lot of money into the foundation, Eastern West Virginia Community Foundation, which has done a lot of good and has also served as a buffer between Randy and all these thousands of new friends that's looking for payouts.
Built a rec center.
He's done a lot of good things. So let's not just stay with Whitaker. Let's look at the opposite side with Randy Smith.
I don't think Phil was saying that everybody.
No. But we were discussing the bad side. There's also a good side as well that we had not discussed.
Okay. Yes, and you can impact a lot of lives, including your own and your family, of course, probably first. But just like the downside of that. But I would want someone to see that we're in our office. I would want that person to see, even if they didn't want to look at it. I'd want to say, look, mismanagement of this and mismanagement of your emotions, which is what we do here. Make no mistake, all the planning and the investing and the goals that we set, we're still managing emotions at the end of the day for the majority of our clients. We're managing emotions, and that needs to be front and center if someone runs into something that large. We see it sometimes with, and it's not even like grand inheritances, but if you don't have much and you inherit $1 million, that's a huge deal for you. That is life-changing, and how you react to that is going to dictate what that money can do for you. So whether it's $1 million or $250 million, yes, you're going to treat the $250 million or $450, whatever it shakes out to be. You're going to treat that differently because it's going to bring about different abilities and different opportunities and different issues. But at the end of the day, you are still managing emotions and what they do with that, and to take a breath and slow down and look at what this can do for you and what it can't do for you, because there's some things that it can't do for you as well. But just like you had said, there's a lot of things you could do in the community that you probably should do in the community, things that are important to you if you run into that sort of money. And that's where we would want a team of people in constant contact, especially early on, in constant contact around to shield you and protect you from others and sometimes yourself.
Yeah, that last one may be the most important one, right?
Yes,
so
for sure.
Generally speaking, when it comes to these jackpots, most people take the lump sum. They get the taxes over with right away. They get sometimes these are 9-figure checks and whatever. And I always wonder why that is, based on Bobby Bonilla Day, which, if you know the story about Bobby Bonilla, the New York Mets signed him to a very long contract, and they had to defer a gigantic chunk of the money. So whatever day of the year, and you can look it up and find out what the day is, whatever day of the year it is that comes around, Bobby Bonilla gets a check, and I think it was for the next 20-something years of his life, so many years after he retired, for $1 million-something. And I always thought to myself, if you won the lottery, why would you not protect yourself from yourself and just take that elongated payout so that no matter how bad you screw up the first couple of years, you get a few of those big checks, there's still going to be more of those coming for the next 30 years.
Well, you don't know, in John's example, they had already, when they come to us, they already made that decision. If they hadn't made that decision, there would be a lot of math that would be involved in a lot of what ifs. What if I pass away? What if my wife passes away? What part of this can go on to my children? John's example said they had 2 children. Can this money continue on to my children? Can it continue on through? Is there a period certain? Because that's an annuity term. But is there a period certain that it's going to pay past me? Will it pay a foundation? Will it pay a charity? Or does it end with me and my spouse? So there's a lot of questions that we would want to look at. And again, we're going to go into this estate attorney and tax and CPA or tax attorney to find out exactly, okay, well, let's look at the taxes. If we're going to get X amount per year, how much taxes am I going to pay under current tax law in the moment, opposed to if I just took a huge chunk of it up front? We know there'll be taxes moving forward. There'll be capital gain taxes and all these fun taxes that we'll get to enjoy moving forward too, but it wouldn't be the ordinary income tax that you would get in that first year. So we would want all of those equations laid out in front of us. And you're right, that could provide some sort of protection. But the flip side, if I continue to make mistakes because I know that I've got a huge check coming next April or whatever month that would be, and that would almost encourage me to continue to do the same thing because I get replenished every single year instead of from the onset I made a handful of mistakes like the teenage children would do with money, and then I learned from them, and then I'm not going to do it anymore. Well, now it's almost as if you've got an out or a mulligan, using a golf term, because I've got this money coming every year. But all of those things we would need to know, and it would be a lot of time that we would spend with that person, with their trusted professionals around them, estate attorney, CPA, and the likes, and their family, and the foundations, and so forth. But it would be fun. I would thoroughly enjoy it. So if you're out there and you hit that Mega Millions, call us right here at 304-263-4343, or you can stop by and see us. You don't even need an appointment. We'll be here.
Oh yeah, for that you get right in the door. A friend of mine who is
30 seconds.
Oh, okay. No, I can't do it in 30 seconds.
All right. I will tell you this then, that the odds of winning the Mega Millions jackpot is 1 in 290.5 million.
And I couldn't win anything at a gun bat.
Wow. Well, you had a 1 in 30 chance of winning.
And I did not get a single number right.
That's usually what happens, is you don't get a single number right. Phil, give us the right numbers for how to get in touch with you.
You can reach us at 304-263-4343 or stop by and visit with an appointment at 1270 Winchester Avenue right here in Martinsburg.
Thank you, Phil. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.